And welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time in Shadow Empire. As is customarily the case at the beginning of a stream, we're starting at the end of a turn instead of the beginning of a turn. It's round 72. I believe we're at peace with all the majors at the moment, although some of those peace terms may not be particularly stable. We're about in the middle of the pack of 11 different players, and about where we should be, I think. Unless we were pulling ahead. There's definitely the lower end of the spectrum are the people who are not necessarily doing very well. So Phoenix Bound and Ridge Space are not doing particularly well. Whereas Oxydon State, which is one of our neighbors, is doing a little bit better than us. Once again, this is the Shadow Empire. A computer needs its robot army run. So the first step of that is getting myself the political system report here. Get ourselves in a syndicate democracy. To do that, I need to get to tech level 5. I need the Syndicate faction to have a minimum 25% of the vote, and have the rounds requirement passed, which at this point we started at tech level 5. We basically did an event start to guarantee that we got that. We started with, or we didn't start with the democracy turns, but it's been long enough that at this point that's probably a gimme. So the bit we're missing here is the minimal 25% of the vote for the Syndicate faction. If we look at our faction overview, the next vote is in 5 rounds, and because of manipulation we have done since the Syndicate faction has been declared, the Syndicate Trader Society currently has 20% of the vote, but is in polls predicted to have 59% of the vote. So we're basically waiting for those 5 turns. They should win the election, at which point we should, if we come back to the political view here, should have all our requirements to form a Syndicate democracy. Now, I don't believe it is a guaranteed decision to pop up. I believe there's some percent chance it pops up every given turn that you meet the requirements. So once we, well, probably I should start hoarding political power at this point, just in case that is an expensive choice. And it may be an expensive choice, being mentally prepared for that. Construction overview, well, we just finished heavy industry, so next turn, I'm going to have to be aware of what happens with our power. Heavy industry is pretty power demanding. Mining-wise, I need to stay on top of this. Radioactives are going to be good for, like, 50 turns. They're pretty slow to mine. Rare metals, I think, was the last one we just topped up. Was that the rare metals or metal we just topped up? With purple mining. Is there anything else I want to check before we get to it? I still can check the neighbors. We might as well check the treasury review. So I think we're still... Oh, we're actually losing money, but we're not losing it that bad. It's about 400. So Oxydon State is 21. It's hostile. They're not aboard us. 38 hostile. These guys have become our allies. We've got non-aligned on the rest of the borders. And then you're at peace. Do you have... I just did the peace deal with them. Okay. I don't know if they have any AI neighbors. Anyway, think as far as troop movement is going, we're pretty much done for the turn. Anyway, I think we're going to hoard up political power for that decision. So unless there's something very tempting that pops up, or it's a diplomacy interaction, we're probably going to hold off using any of our cards. Although I will continue to probably do bureaucratic pushes. The reason being, I want to push... what am I working on? I'm working on industrial robotization. We'll probably go high-tech industry afterwards. We're trying to run down to robotics. We are also trying to get the heavy combat armor done so we can do an armor infantry pass. So heavy combat armor laser rifle troops. Which will be a little bit better than the Gauss, but probably in the long run will be a little bit worse than charge Gauss. So yeah, let's get those bureaucratic pushes in, which are guaranteed to be successes. They may not be critical successes, so we might not always get the best results, but get good enough results. And yeah, I think that's where we will go and cycle the turn. And again, we're in the middle of the pack here. I'm going to be wanting to build up industry, because when we get to robot army, I probably want the number of machine parts we're making to be 2 times the number of high-tech parts. And every high-tech part that we're not using, you know, building up industry, is a robot that we can deploy. So that's actually the logic there, why I want 2 parts of machines to 1 part electronics, or 1 part high-tech parts. Is heavy battle dress robots are 2 machine parts, 1 high-tech part, plus some trivial amount of metal or whatever for the guns. I think until you hit plasma, I think plasma might also be high-tech parts. Don't usually get to plasma. I usually play on slow enough game speeds that I either win before you get to plasma, or well, in the slower game speeds you usually win before you get to plasma. On faster game speeds where you get to plasma, I tend to find that you get nuked before you really do any major deployment of plasma weapons. They are reasonably deep in the tech tree. And reminder, I am playing here on hard difficulty, on slow development speed to keep the basically stretch the game length, right? We don't want to be flying through the tech tree. We don't want the AI picking up the ICBM atomic weapons and start chucking them at each other. We've experienced that once before. And while there is some counterplay, it's not an interesting place to be on the receiving end, at least as far as being a human player is concerned. Some of the AI cheats, or some of the modifications the AI gets for being an AI are very favorable to such a nuclear apocalypse, let's just say. Yeah, we managed to befriend one of the elitist factions. The other 2 are oscillating between hostile and blackmailing. So, at some point we're going to have to fight one or both of them. Current troops will definitely not do a very good job of it. If we can get to sort of those laser rifle heavy common armor troops, I think those will do a little bit better. Even better would be battle dress equipped troops, or possibly, if we can get the game to go long enough and get our computer, go with the robot army. Although that probably wouldn't necessarily be great deployment of troops, that'll just be numbers, because unlike recruiting living, breathing people, robots you get to make. And it doesn't take very much for you to be able to make robots faster than you can make humans. So even if they're inferior per model, they are superior in quantity, let's just say. And quantity has a quality all its own. Especially when I'm playing against the AI, which is... The AI is not necessarily the best at maintaining cohesive front lines. They're good at being threatening, and actually, to some degree, them not maintaining cohesive front lines is part of the reason they're threatening. It allows them to sort of generate concentration points to do breakthroughs and stuff like that. But if you've got them outnumbered to a very large degree, their willingness to make breaches to attack elsewhere can lead them to just have big gaping holes that you can exploit. So when we do get the robot infantry will definitely be mass deployed, primarily with the goal of just sort of slipping through the cracks and either forcing them to withdraw or forcing them to attack us. Because robots are worse on the attack than they are on the defense. And we're getting attacked by the non-aligned here, which is at least going relatively well for us. We're inflicting a lot of damage without taking much. And the non-aligned are being very aggressive this turn. Round 73 as Ladar. We've killed 600 infantry, 10 guns, 50 motorized, 10 tanks for the loss of nothing. I think that was a good end turn. We have 3 decisions. Sir, we need to increase the government profile of our proud Imperium. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Automated clinic. That's great. Bureaucratic push. So we got a replacement for the ones we just played. Big government is beautiful. Sir, we need to increase the government profile of our proud Imperium. We need to adjust the civic curriculums. Students better grasp how essential the centralized coordination is to maintaining prosperity and security. We are going government. This would make Red Love like us better. I'll go check the other decisions first. We are going government, so just RPing here. I'd hit yes. But if I do anything that's going to piss her off, I'd rather do this after to raise her opinion more. This is just a confirm. Diplo decisions. Our spies in Blackhold have found info. Okay, so Blackhold, let's figure out which. That's one of the other factions. Regime. Blackhold. Blackhold is an oligarchy, with the political body being a senate. Blackhold. Is that the one that has the info I want to be at the bottom? Oh, there it is. Merit Mind, Commerce Merit Mind, Merit Heart. So I think it's the Optimates that we want friendly. I think it's the Heart one. It might be the Merit, or it might be the Mind one. What is their current opinion? Those spies over here, yeah, they're cold. They are cold, with current power going to the National Science Party. So I think this is probably the neutral party. I don't know if it's Heart or Commerce we want to empower. I'm not sure these ones are going to make actually friendlier than cold reliably. Let's do Heart. We're running Heart. I don't think that's necessarily the meta choice, but
yes,
we'll do Virtue's Gold.
that, sir.
And at this point, this is a no-brainer. We take the government choice. There we go. Oh, I suppose it technically isn't a no-brainer. There maybe is a little bit of thought to that choice, but from my perspective, it's a relatively easy choice.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
get these guys to surrender.
Mission completed. Open fire! Open fire! Run!
Not enough firepower to get the vehicles to surrender. We tried at least. Okay, I think that's our expansion. You're at 21, you're at 18. So this is looking like it's going to decay if I don't take sort of affirmative action back into a state of war. I believe, now that I'm remembering, I have a demand from our parliament. Oxydon State, they want us at war with Oxydon States. They want us at war with these guys. So I'm not going to do anything to keep them happy. We are going to try to keep Phoenix Bond happy. Partially because I don't want a two-front war.
Yes, sir. Roger that, sir.
That might not be enough, but it is what it is. And then once again, into Nation, we're going to go ahead and continue playing out bureaucratic pushes
Yes,
as
sir.
we get them.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
60, yeah, 66 and 53. Looks like we're probably making like 5% a turn towards the, oh, 10%. So if that rate can be kept up, we'll get that done pretty quickly. And then eco, the industrial position, 6%. We're not losing power, so that is a good sign. So we've got a heavy industry. Heavy industry is providing us with 10, or it's actually providing us with 22 because of all the buffs. That is nice. So until I get battle dress, that is probably enough machine parts. Yeah, that's probably enough machine parts until we get battle dress. Unless I want to start selling them on the market. Which is something I could do. They wouldn't stay very valuable for very long. Let's also get that artifact deployed.
I'm on it.
How's the apoptotic or apparatchik score doing? 40 trended down a bit, but it's only going to go down to like 43 until either I get the computer or I get my government score down, which is sort of counterintuitively not what we're trying to do. I was thinking maybe about upgrading that, but I think we'll hold off. Oh, and continue deploying colonists here. Looks like we're about to cross the threshold where we can level this up to level 2, which we'll do so we can expand the mines. Although I think we'll only take it to 2, and then I will work towards putting a colony up here. 1, 2, 3, 4 iron mines. They might not be good or good metal mines. They might not be good mines, although 6 is not bad. 5 is not bad. The 2s aren't particularly good, but it's definitely looking like a good place to put a city for mining. I'm gonna bring back a bunch of metals, which would be good for building railroads. Logistics. Okay. Cycling the turn. Now, sadly, our robot army, when we do get the robot army, robots can only be regular infantrymen and in mobile gun emplacements. The gun emplacement units can be strategically moved, but those are the 3 types of freely buildable autonomous units you get. Although it isn't necessarily a bad idea for us to get some gun emplacements. Could definitely do some hardpoint fortification. But that, of course, means that at some point, robots are either going to have human infantry providing machine guns and anti-tank and tank support are all going to be driven by humans. We're not going to be 100% robot, although we might be mostly robot. Again, you can build a lot of robots if you set your mind to it. Unlike humans, which require 100 pop, robots require 1 high-tech part each. And you can make high-tech parts. So if you're making like 50 high-tech parts, you can make an entire brigade of robots every turn. I think 50 high-tech parts is only level 2. Only level 2 high-tech industry, so real easy to make a lot of robots. Again, like most of the autonomous weapons, a little bit inferior at attacking relative to defending, in comparison to their non-autonomous alternatives. And they're even worse at defending than their autonomous alternatives as well. But numbers has a quality all its own. Rebellion! Rebellion! Interesting. Can I... first of all, whose rebellion is that, and can I take advantage of that? The answer right now is probably not. I think I need to wait until we get the heavy combat armor and get our guys upgraded to lasers and heavy combat armor. Okay, we're on the unlined portion of the turn. Round 74, we killed 200 infantry, 10 motorized, and 10 tanks. We have 6 decisions. Family bureaucracy continues. Oxydon State has changed themselves to a democracy. Okay. Discovered metal soil filtration. I will probably want to research that. It's not high on my priority list at the moment. Definitely something I will want to research, though. Request permission for a personal guard. Well, we are not autocratic, we are not fist, we are not mind. So we will be reproached for asking for having your own personal guard, because we are attempting to be hard. The keyword attempting, because of all the diplomacy, mind has been taking over, but
Roger that.
mind and its pacifism. Yeah, probably leave this as is.
Roger that.
Permanent position, we'll come back to that. I'll probably end up giving it to you. I definitely don't want to move the governor. I am suspecting our primary governor here is going to retire due to old age before I want to replace them. In fact, based on their strength score, I'm surprised they have not yet retired. So, yeah, you can, for the rest of your service life, you can have that position. Well, but we'll come back to that one. Org decision, yeah, focus on a mix of discovery and research. Unless, is there any ecotechs actually? Yes, there's still ecotechs I want. I want these two automation techs. If we get those 2 automation techs, I'll check the box and call it good. Or not check the box, I'll lower the priority. I'll also want future talks. Yeah, we are getting pretty close to having all the important ecotechs discovered. And then we'll turn discovery down. Right now we'll run 50-50.
Roger that.
Zone decision. Refugees at the gate. Well, we're gonna let them in, because I want the heart. The question here is, do I go let them all in, or let only the women and children in? We'll just let the women and children in this time. This is the city leveling up to 2. We will accept. And then, yeah, we'll go ahead and take that government score. And yeah, so here we can start building up these mines. I'm going to do them one at a time this time. Make sure I can get workers here to mine them. Or to upgrade them. Oh, I might be able to get the workers here anyway. Yeah, it's predicting enough workers. Okay. Oh, I guess the upgrade isn't as expensive as I think it is. It's only 400 workers, so there we go. Got enough workers to do both upgrades at full speed, so it just comes down to can we get the supplies in via the logistics. They're at 21, they're at 21, and those are Oxydon rebels. Now, to declare war on the Oxydon rebels, I would have to technically be at war with Oxydon. So we're not going to invade them yet. In fact, actually, because we know Oxydon swamped being democratic, I suspect that was a citizen coup. These are rebels of the old guard. I don't have enough spying to know for sure. Push my reconnaissance assets up a little closer so we get some understanding of what's going on. Okay, Phoenix Bond. You're still my target for diplomacy. We would still like to not have a war with you.
Yes, sir. Roger that, sir.
Oh, this is all diverted over to the rebels. Okay. So it looks like the zone over here diverted to the rebels. They're definitely gonna have some problems. Which I think is gonna buy me time to be a little bit meaner. When we do go to war with them.
Mission successful.
But we're not gonna start that war right away. We got priorities. But mainly having the equipment to fight the war properly is the priority. Don't start something you don't think you can finish. It's always a good way to roll that sort of situation. Yeah, going more this way, I'm gonna need to get the city set up, which is the next thing I'm gonna work on. So we're gonna stop giving colonists here. We're gonna start setting up some colonists there. So I'm thinking the city center goes here. Yeah, that's about right. It's maybe a little early right there. Yeah, something up like there. Although, if I'm going to be going in the ruins, that just makes that a good place to put the fork in the road, so we'll put it there.
I'm on it.
Start a truck station there. And then I want to put the other truck station right about where it's 100. Around there. Plus or minus 1 Hanks would probably be fine.
I'm on it.
Because it's only going to be level 1 truck station when we start. But yeah, so those 2 truck stations. Gonna make this a city. Given that I'm gonna make that a city, should move if I can. Small old militia unit to be the city garrison. Yeah, we'll make that a city. It'll be in charge of all the metal mines, so we'll go ahead and start mining those metal mines. Which I think is a good start. Okay. And needless to say, with the Civil War, Oxydon is going to drop a few ranks temporarily. And we're still waiting on that vote, which, yeah, it's still 3 turns out. Eco is still making good progress, 8. Military, still making good progress, another 10%. So, at this rate, 3 more turns and we'll be able to start redesigning the infantry.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I don't need any replacements. I probably want to deploy more brigades, but I'm holding out because then I can deploy them the new equipment rather than the old equipment. Now, I don't think both of those truck stations are going to finish this turn. on this end turn. They're only one-turn builds, but them being one-turn builds and them actually being one-turn builds are two different things. They would need perfect logistics to be one-turn builds, so I think they're going to take 2. In fact, the one that's all the way at the end might take more than 2. It might require the first one to be properly finished before I can get it done in an appreciable rate. Yeah, we're going to definitely be swimming in metal. I might be a little low on rare metals, because I think the laser weapons require rares. I know the polymer does. Oh, I haven't been following up diplomacy with the miner. It's not super important, but it's something I should evaluate whether or not it's plausible. So Oxydon goes before its rebels. And yeah, that's a full-blown civil war, so this, if we can be properly equipped for when the time comes to be at war with them, I think that's something we can take advantage of and just take a bunch of territory off of them. By fighting both sides in the civil war. Yep, not much to talk about. We're watching the AI play their turns while waiting for it to get back around to ours. Oh, two chats asking, do I have aircraft? Because it is an advanced start, technically I do. In that, I think the game started us with some designed. I don't have any built. And I know the AI have a couple built. We've been on the receiving end of a couple airstrikes. Although I don't have any built because, as often the case with big desert worlds like this, they don't quite have the strike range to fight out deep in the desert. And I try not to have people close enough to my cities where they're super helpful this early game. So at some point I'll probably have more, more and better engines, but we'll see how that goes. It's Landalar, round 75. We've killed 4 infantry, 60 motorized, and 20 tanks. Over this end turn, we have 5 decisions. Protest against leaders' opulence. Okay. Twitch saying, well, soon you'll have the metal to make them. Possibly. There have been infighting at certain management committees. Okay. Up to minor elite. Minor impose sharing. Okay. Attempt to say no, that's that's your business, not our business here. We'll come back to that one. We got a diplomat decision. The Pelia League is in search of a special item. We'll give it to them. Gets us a relationship increase. I think that's one of the ones way over here. Yeah. Gets us a relationship increase with them, which is not bad. Gets us some heart, which we're trying to be.
Yes, sir. Roger that, sir.
Org, Secret Council.
Roger.
Got balanced. Committee issues for Hydrus. Government our mind. We will go government.
Yes, sir. Roger that, sir.
Indignation over opulence. They're not appreciative of Baker's opulent clothing. Well, we're gonna confiscate your opulent clothing
Roger that.
because it's good for heart. And then yeah, I think we say
Roger
that's your
that.
business, not our business. I did just piss someone off. I think it was our secretary. The advisor and the secretary and the governor and juror are all pretty grumpy. So let's try to raise opinion with you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, well I got him up to 50 to start.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Did it not reassign? It didn't reassign it. Did it on the previous person. I had to click it on. Okay. That wasn't what I wanted. Okay, we'll come back to that. Diplomacy-wise, you're hostile, but not too bad. You're still at 24. I would like you to be above 25.
Yes, sir. Roger that, sir.
There we go. That's better. Make some bullets to replace our missing bullets.
Understood.
And yeah, that truck station was delayed. This one was not. Okay, so we got one done. Second one actually wasn't delayed as much as I was expecting.
Open fire! Open fire! Mission successful.
Okay, continue to expand at the expense of the non-aligned.
Yes, sir. We're going in. Mission completed.
Not a bad result. the construction down here go. Proceeded speed. That's good. That is good. Nation. Bureaucratic push.
Yes, sir.
Bureaucratic
Yes, sir.
push. And one more
Yes,
bureaucratic
sir.
push. And yeah, faction-wise, vote is in 2. Got 21 on that turn. Okay, so if we get another good roll like that, we'll probably be done with military research. Or that military research. 2 more on the robotization. We'll swap to high-tech parts at that point. And we're going to save up colonists because we're going to start a colony up here. How do I feel about the industry? Can I get a rail connection? Possibly. Get some basic rails started. Some more intercity logistics.
Order received.
Interesting on the long drag it decided to go across that bit of desert instead of following the road, but it did.
I'm on it.
Okay, so it's going to take probably 2 and a bit to get the rail going properly. That'll also help with logistics out to the front lines. And yeah, I think the only one that's possibly going to clear on us is Oxydon. And they're in a civil war, so they might not actually. I do have a demand to be at war with them, so I'll probably have to declare war with them within the next 10. Not a massive rush for that to happen. Anyway, we have our election or the next election's in 2. So let's cycle the turn. Is a general rule. I try to keep the leaders over 50 opinion. At 50, they give no bonuses or malices. Above 50, they provide a bonus just from relationship. Below, they provide a malice. And usually below is when they can start to repel. So usually you want to keep them at least what I describe as neutral. 50 is neutral on leader opinion scale. Also, leaving a leader slot empty is the equivalent of a leader at 0 opinion. So, if you have spots where you can put leaders, you want to have leaders to fill them, because even a unhappy leader is better than no leader. But you don't generally want unhappy leaders because they can lead to rebellions. Is a good way to think about leaders. So most of the time I ignore my leader's opinion unless it's below 50 and I've got a way to deal with it. Or if I'm doing a decision and I don't have a way to deal with it, I might try not to dump it below 50. Is another way to look at it. I think the rebels may be on the back foot, because we're seeing less and less motion out of them. Round 76. We suffer no losses, nor made any kills. We have 4 decisions. Discovered some more water. Time bureaucracy is continuing. Discovered ammo printer. Discovered turbojet. So that may be a tech we might want to research if I'm actually going to do better aircraft. And I did not improve the opinion of Aaron here quickly enough. I think that was my secretary. Although it looks like he's just quit. Oh no, that was the guy I just bribed to be happy. Interestingly enough that he quit. Okay. Anger over profits. Director of the Military Research Council. We're gonna support the population here. Population is protesting my exemplary CEO. Population needs to be jealous of the profits me and my CEO are making, but it does not make any sense. They're profiting as well. How can they not understand my property rights? Afraid if you let them, they'll confiscate my capital and enrich themselves. Yeah, you're not gonna like it, but we're gonna say we're just gonna support them because we like heart.
Roger that.
New demand. Quelubas is to be conquered. 4760. Quelubas. So we'd have to fight over the mountain range into Oxydon State. Take an immediate word profile. We're saying no. 84. So you want me to do this in 8 rounds. I'm not even sure I'm going to be at war with them in 8 rounds. So we're going to take the hit right away.
Copy that.
Retract the worker well-being law. Sir, on the initiative of the Steel Front, the Parliament is holding a vote whether to retract the worker well-being law. Law effects will lose with retraction. Worker happiness would go down. Public economy would lose a 10% bonus. Would save us bureaucratic power. And it is impossible for me to get them to not remove it. All factions have 999 intent to get rid of it because they want the space, presumably, for putting a different law in. So there's no point in me trying, so I won't. Don't make any efforts. Let the votes be cast freely.
Roger that.
Your decision to lean back and see what the vote has changed government by -3. Retract vote is done to make another more desirable law pass. This gives plus 4,337 intent. Democracy profile +1. Steel Front is now calling the Parliament to vote whether to retract the law. It is retracted with 100 votes in favor.
Yes, sir.
Okay, with all the construction, we are negative a bunch of stuff. Although there's a decent possibility this is the one and only turn where we're going to be negative. Railhead done. Railhead's done, truck station's done, railhead's done, radioactive mining facility's done, metal mine is done, rail station proceeds at speed. The railhead at the end of the northern line is the only one that isn't done. It'll probably finish next turn. Well, that must have been a little oasis town before the dissolution, because it's a random town to a water deposit on it. Orgs. Military. Didn't get a good roll. Although at this point, we're at the point where a bad roll would be able to get the last 2%. So we can expect heavy combat armor next turn. Industrialization's up to 91. If we get the same sort of roll, we'll have it next turn. Radioactive is still good for a while. Nation.
Yes, sir.
Bureaucratic push. Minor. Do I have the info I need to follow up? Yes. Do I have any chance of success? No. Not with offer protection. Co-op to minor elite. Does it even have a drawback if I fail? Failure will give nothing. It looks like there is no drawback for failure. And that is plausible. Let's attempt.
Yes, sir. Roger that, sir.
Critical failure, our credits were accepted, did not have the desired effect. Okay. Who to guess trying to bribe the elite of a foreign country to become your subjects is not necessarily going to work. And then we did the bureaucratic pushes. Okay. You're at 21. You're at 20. Oh, oh, they've declined back to 21.
Yes, sir. Roger that, sir.
There we go. Leaders. I do have that one leader that has really low opinion. This is my secretary. Yes, you.
Yes, sir.
Now they're less grumpy. Good to know. For Merit Heart Government, if I play this, I'm hoping we can drive them a little bit closer to democracy.
Roger.
Democracy is increased. Government has been increased. Okay. It's not quite the desired effect. I was hoping to reduce merit, but we got democracy up. A step in the right direction. Should be the election next turn. Yes, proportional vote next turn. That'll be coming hand in hand with the military, tech passing, and probably the eco tech. And well, take a couple turns to develop, but we'll be wanting to upgrade our units as rapidly as possible to the new fancy laser weapons and armor. Might be nice to take over the ruin up there so we can check to see if it's got anything interesting. So we'll go one extra turn on this part. We're coming up on the hour here, but I'm going to go one more turn so we can see if the syndicate faction does in fact win the vote. I think they should. And then we should be rolling the RNG for the syndicate computer to come up every turn from then on. Yeah, I might get the decision right away. I'm not 100% sure. I have yet to technically do it once yet, so I understand the basics, but understanding the basics and having done it are two different things. Yeah, the fact that we're not popping around the map means at least most of what we can see is stable. Ridge space, so we can see the ally, so them moving is not a bad thing. Yeah, I think they're slowly managing to deal with their rebels. So the rebellion is probably done and dusted at this point. So yeah, based on where we are and the time here, I would normally put the part break in here, but I am interested in seeing if we win that election, so I want to play out the next turn as well. So I'll have this be a slightly longer part, which may screw up the ad breaks a little bit with Twitch. Because we're probably coming up on ad break right now. Oh, 14 minutes out. We'll see how quickly I can do this end turn. Or do this next turn. Because I'd like to get the second part break, or get the first part break to align with a ad break. I can move them up, but might be able to delay them if I'm paying enough attention. Is technically a snooze function. We stood firm when irregular trucks attacked us. That shouldn't be too hard to fight off. They don't have no weapons. At least you'd think so. Round 77. We have killed 20 motorized over the end turn. We have 6 decisions. Workers of the Polymark deserve a salary augmentation. Okay. Completed industrial robotization and heavy combat armor. I think I missed it. There we go. Elections have been held, and the Justice Knights, the old minority, won the election with 67% of the vote. Okay, so we had an election. Justice Knights were not the political faction we wanted to win. In fact, the party that we wanted to win lost the election. They fell to 19% from 20%, so that was not what we wanted. That was not what we wanted at all. We wanted these guys to win. Syndicate computer, opposition, everything else. So because they did not win they were polling at 59%. I'm surprised they lost so poorly. Yeah, I'm surprised they lost so poorly. They were polling at 59%. I would expect them to win better than that. But Just Knights won, which is going to delay the transition to Syndicate Democracy because we don't have 21st of the vote with them. Okay. New advisor, because our previous one left. You, who... The only feature to you is that you're Cap 2 and don't like Fist. Or you... is a member of the Steel Front. They are a Syndic Church follower. And they at least like our profiles. Democracy, government, art. I think we'll go with you.
Affirmative.
Order received.
Here we're gonna go high tech.
Roger that.
We can get more robot parts earlier. And then military is actually a good question. What do I want to go for? So if I'm rushing to robot soldiers, it's tempting to grab one of the ones out of automation. So Ablette coding or automated turret. On the other hand, I probably want the automation techs in automation. So that's hydroponics, automated logistics, mining robotization, ultracapacitors. So I'm already looking at 5 in there. Thinking worker hydraulics so that we can be able to discover battle dress. Yeah, worker hydraulics.
Roger that.
Don't need a custom formation.
Order received.
Champion Polymark. You like me. I don't want to give them a bigger raise, so we're gonna say no, which does hurt your opinion a bunch. But you're still 70 plus, so I can work with that. We can work with that. Okay, so the rail head here is done. So I think we're at a good place to make that the new colony.
Roger that.
Okay, that'll make the bit up here be part of the city as well. That should work out. And I'm going to seal a road out to you. I'm going to seal a road up to you. And because I've just made the zone, you're going to have enough workers run that. Can I delegate you to the new zone? Jura, Ion. Not for this turn yet. I gotta wait at least one, apparently. In the meantime, let's start on that first metal mine. So, metal mines luckily do not... The level 1 version does not cost metal, so it's gonna cost some machine parts, some industry. That's not a problem.
Roger that.
And then you need workers to work that. And I can't send every last colonist, but we only need 1,100 workers. That should provide the workers. So then the rest that we can as population, give you some civilian population. And we'll slowly grab, probably start one of these up every turn until we have all of them done. And I do need to have another decision. So I need to call up the model council. We're doing some model design. We're going to develop our infantry model from Grunt 2, which was using automatic rifle, to laser rifle. So that's going to triple the firepower. It's going to be a 50% penetration increase. It's going to gain 2 rare metals, so it's going to get far more expensive. And we're going to swap from ammo use to energy use. Combat armor to heavy combat armor, so 50% increase in armor. Also, each armor level above Enviro suit is plus 20 armor thickness, so this is 20, 40, 60. So we're starting getting into pretty heavy armor for the purposes of damage reduction.
Yes, sir. Roger that, sir.
Battle dress would, of course, be better. Normal battle dress is 80, and heavy battle dress is 100 armor thickness. And then when that's done, we can do a mass upgrade of the infantry. I'll probably also tag in upgrades for... So, we'll do infantry, machine guns, RPGs for the model zone. So the model zone is going to be a bit busy because we're going to basically jump from one to the next. Oh, I suppose that's what we could have done as an alternative to Walker Hydraulics. I could have gone for guided RPG. I don't think we're going to be fast enough. I might hold off on doing an improvement on RPGs. Improvement on laser rifles and adding laser machine guns to everything might be enough to deal with all the light armor. This is a pretty dense escarpment into this crater down here. That's the one place where it's not an escarpment to come down. There. Here. I am going to want to run up towards the city, which is where we're going to run. Basically run a road along the escarpment here. And yeah, I should have a nice, really strong logistical connection from here. Ballnecks? Still showing as Ballnecked. Has, we only just finished the rail station, right? The rail station hasn't kicked in. Hasn't kicked in yet. So, 2 turns from now, I'll have a real strong rail connection from there to there. Okay, neighbor-wise, you're 21. We do want to go to war with them. I would like to probably hold that off until we have the laser weapons. The demand says war in 8. I don't think we'll wait that long. If they don't declare on us, we'll declare on them before 8. They're at 33. We'll accept that's the case. That's fine. At this point, these guys are allies. So I think we just sort of scrunch up along the border here, because I don't really need anyone deployed on the allied border. Just work on rearranging the units while we're in a nice state of peace here. So they're a little bit more together for the next war. Yeah, these mines are done, so that'll be good. From a productivity standpoint. So you've got like 20 turns before we need to do peripheral mining on you. It's 48. That's a good time there. Decent there, decent there, okay. Anyway, started up on those, okay. Hold the zoo project for a bit. Actually, no, I won't hold the zoo project for a bit, we'll use it right now. Give them a zoo, give them some quality of life. And the nation, we're going to continue bureaucratic pushing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And yeah, I am disappointed in the election loss. I would have assumed with how much support bonus I got, they would have, you know, done better. Let's just say. Just because the poll was polling at 59%. I suppose leaders must be worth more. It's probably what's going on in that that thing. So it's probably the polling for population worker soldiers that it was showing, not the old leaders. Because the people who won the poll, Justice Knights, have a lot of leaders. Whereas the people who wanted to win the poll have 2. I don't have a good way to make people join a particular party.
Standing by for orders.
Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll cycle the turn, and then we will put the part break in as soon as this end turn completes. Still sitting. I've actually moved up because of the Civil War with Oxydon State. They've dropped from 5 back down to 6. We've moved up a bit, and we are working on that unit upgrade. So that'll be nice when that completes. And yeah, just a reminder, as soon as this end turn comes to a close, we are going to go ahead and put the part break in. So we're watching it just to see what's going on, so that we know what sort of circumstances we're going to be in as soon as the we start the next part up. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can expect there to be another part up tomorrow. I'm still a little sad that we are not going to be able to get our syndicate computer, but that is only a setback. Eventually we will get that party enough power that hopefully they'll win the election. We'll see what I can do. What I might try to do is get more leaders and start trimming leaders from the other factions to weaken their votes. The next proportional election is, well, was 20 turns out, now it's 19. Will be 19 turns out as soon as this end turn is done. But I can take the time and start specifically going after low capacity leaders of the other factions, just to reduce their vote count, bring more fresh blood in. Would not be too bad. I think I'll also be willing to hold on to a few more leaders than normal, as long as they're not aligned or associated with the faction we're trying to have win the election, even if they're technically unemployed. So we'll start trying to get some more leaders in, see if we can start to massage the leader pool. Previously, I'd been mainly trying to rely on retiring the low-capacity ones, so I don't bloat the leader pool too much. So we'll pick it up next time on round 78. So if you're watching on YouTube, we'll have another part up tomorrow. If you're watching on Twitch, I'm going to take a short break here, both to get the ad break out of the way while I'm not playing, and to get up and stretch the legs, sip some tea, and then we'll be back to record the next part. So until the next part, I'm going to wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part and/or stream, and bye for now.